During our family game night, my brother laughed and said, "Let's make it interesting, truth or lie." His truth made my parents walk out and never look at him the same again. All right, here's mine. When I was 16, I stole $2,000 from Dad's office safe. The words hung in the air like smoke, heavy, dangerous. My brother Derek sat across from me at the coffee table, that cocky grin still plastered on his face, 32 years old, still acting like the golden child, still thinking he was untouchable. Mom gasped, hand flying to her mouth. "Derek," he held up his hand, casual, amused. "Wait, let me finish the story. I used that money to buy my first car, that Honda Civic everyone thought I'd saved up for from my summer job at the hardware store. Remember? You guys were so proud of me. Truth or lie?" The living room smelled like Mom's cinnamon candles and microwave popcorn. Monopoly boards spread across the coffee table between us. Dad had been winning. He always won at Monopoly. Always. Until now. Dad frowned, set down his dice slowly. "Lie, that's a lie. You worked all summer, I remember. You came home exhausted every night, did I?" Derek asked, still smiling. That same smile he'd used his whole life to get away with everything. Mom laughed nervously, high-pitched, uncomfortable. "Come on, Derek, this isn't funny. Tell us it's a lie." I stayed quiet, watching, waiting, heart pounding but face calm. "Your turn to guess, little brother," Derek said, looking directly at me now. Something in his eyes, challenge, confidence, certainty. I met his stare, didn't blink. "Truth." His smile faltered, just for a second. Barely noticeable, but I saw it. "What?" Mom's voice shook. "No, he's joking. He has to be joking. Can't lie in the game, Mom," Derek said, voice lighter now, trying to play it off. "Little brother got it right. I took the money, bought the Civic. You never even noticed it was gone, Dad. Never even checked." The room went cold. Actually cold, like someone had opened a window in December. Dad set down his dice with a sharp click against the wooden table. "You're joking. Tell me you're joking right now." "Nope." Derek leaned back, casual, too casual. "Changed the safe combination after, too. Been using it ever since when I need cash. Pretty convenient, actually." Mom's face went pale, completely white. "Since? You mean you've been stealing from us for couple times a year, maybe more. Hard to keep track after 16 years, you know? It all kind of blurs together." I should have felt shocked, should have felt surprised. I wasn't. I'd known for years. 2 years of watching, 2 years of documenting, 2 years of waiting for exactly this moment. Dad stood up, slowly, deliberately. "Get out." "What?" Derek laughed, nervous now. "Come on, Dad, it's just a game. I was making it interesting, like I said. Get out of my house." Mom was crying now, quietly, hands covering her face, shoulders shaking. Derek looked at me, really looked. Something clicked behind his eyes. Recognition, understanding. "You knew, didn't you? You knew before tonight." I didn't answer, just watched him. "Yeah," he nodded slowly. "Yeah, you knew. I saw you that time, 2 years ago, 3 in the morning, Christmas break. I was coming out of Dad's office and you were in the hallway. You saw me. You didn't say anything. Didn't tell them. Why didn't you tell them?" "Because I was waiting," I said quietly. His face changed, smile disappearing completely. "Waiting for what?" I pulled out my phone, set it on the table, right next to Mom's pile of Monopoly money, right in the center where everyone could see. "For you to confess in front of them." I pressed play. Derek's voice filled the room, crystal clear, unmistakable, coming from my phone speaker. "Easiest money I've ever made, man. The old man doesn't even check the books anymore. Hasn't checked in years. I could take 10 grand tomorrow and he wouldn't notice for months. Maybe never." Another voice. His friend Jake from college. "Doesn't that mess with your brother's inheritance, though? Like, aren't you stealing from him too?" Derek's laugh. Loud, careless, cruel. "Who cares? He's always been the boring one anyway, the responsible one. Let him work for his money like a normal person. I've got better things to do than slave away at some 9 to 5. The recording kept playing. 6 full minutes. Derek bragging about stealing from our parents, about how stupid they were, how gullible, how easy it was, how he'd been doing it since high school, how he'd stolen Mom's jewelry last year, her mother's necklace, and pawned it downtown. Told her she must have lost it somewhere. Probably fell off in a parking lot or something, Derek's voice said on the recording. She believed it, cried for a week. God, it was almost too easy. The room was silent except for the recording. Mom wasn't crying anymore. She was staring at Derek with an expression I'd never seen on her face before. Something beyond hurt, beyond betrayal, something colder. Dad's hands were shaking, actually trembling, fists clenched at his sides. Derek looked at me, face red, eyes wide. "You recorded me? You secretly recorded me?" 8 months ago, I said calmly. "At that barbecue at your place. Remember? 4th of July. You got drunk, got careless, started bragging to Jake in the garage while everyone else was watching fireworks. I was coming back from the bathroom, heard you through the window, started recording. You've been sitting on this for 8 months? I was waiting for the right moment. You manipulated me into confessing. No, you confessed on your own. I just suggested the game. You're the one who chose to tell the truth. You could have lied, could have made up something harmless, but you didn't, because you wanted them to know. You wanted to brag. You couldn't help yourself." The recording ended. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Dad's voice was quiet. Dangerous. "How much?" Derek swallowed. Adam's apple bobbing. "What? How much have you stolen?" "Total. All of it. I want a number." "I don't know. I didn't keep track." "Guess." One word. Sharp. Final. Derek's face was bright red now. Blotchy. "Maybe 30,000? 35? Over the years, since I was 16, Mom made a sound. Not a cry, not a sob. Something worse, something animal. Get out of my house, Dad said. Dad, come on, it's not that. Get out before I call the police. You have 30 seconds. Derek looked at Mom, desperate now. Mom, please, it was just money. I can pay it back. I'll pay it all back. She wouldn't look at him, wouldn't even turn her head, just stared at the wall. He turned to me. You planned this. You set me up. This whole game night was a trap. No, I said, voice steady, calm. You set yourself up. You've been setting yourself up for 16 years. I just held up the mirror so Mom and Dad could finally see what I've been seeing. You're a snake. You're a manipulative. I'm not the thief. Dad stepped forward. 20 seconds. Then I call 911. Derek grabbed his jacket from the couch, headed for the door, stopped with his hand on the knob, looked back at me one last time. You'll regret this, he said, voice shaking. You'll regret destroying this family. No, I said quietly. I really won't. He left. Door slamming so hard the picture frames on the wall rattled. The house was silent. Just the hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the wall clock. Normal sounds that seemed too loud now. Dad sat down slowly in his chair, put his head in his hands, shoulders hunched. Mom was staring at the Monopoly board, at Derek's game piece, the little silver dog, still sitting on Park Place. How long have you known? She asked, voice barely above a whisper. 2 years, since Christmas. I came downstairs for water at 2 in the morning and saw him coming out of Dad's office. Safe was open. He had cash in his hand. He saw me, smiled, walked right past me like it was nothing. Why didn't you tell us then? I looked at her, at Dad, at the people who'd always chosen Derek, always believed Derek, always given him the benefit of the doubt while I was the quiet one, the responsible one, the one who didn't need attention. Would you have believed me without proof? She didn't answer. We both knew the truth. Derek was the golden child, the charming one, the one who could do no wrong. I was just the boring younger brother. They would have taken his word over mine, would have believed whatever explanation he gave. The jewelry, Mom whispered, hands trembling. My mother's necklace, the one from her wedding. He said I lost it. He pawned it at a shop on 5th Street. Moretti's Pawn. I have the receipt. I bought it back 6 months ago. It's in my safe deposit box at the bank. She looked up at me, eyes red, wet. You bought it back? I reached into my pocket, pulled out a small velvet box, set it on the table next to the Monopoly board. She opened it with shaking hands. The necklace, gold chain, small diamond pendant, her mother's necklace, the one she'd worn at her own wedding, the one she thought was lost forever. She started crying again, different this time, quieter, deeper. Dad looked at my phone, at the recording device still sitting on the table. You've had this evidence for 8 months. Yes. Why tonight? Why wait this long? Because he was getting bolder, more confident. I heard him on the phone last week talking to Jake about his next plan. You and Mom are going to Florida next month for your anniversary. He was planning to clear out the safe while you were gone. All of it. Every dollar. Dad's jaw tightened, muscle jumping. He was going to empty it. Take everything. Probably 30, 40,000, maybe more. Then act surprised when you discovered it. Blame it on a break-in or something. I couldn't let that happen. Silence. Long silence. I'm calling my lawyer in the morning, Dad said, voice hard. Pressing charges, full charges, theft, fraud, everything. I have all the evidence you need. 3 separate recordings, bank statements showing his deposits that match your withdrawals, receipts from the pawn shop, screenshots of text messages, everything documented, everything dated. I've been building a case for 8 months. He looked at me, really looked at me for what felt like the first time in years. You've been investigating your own brother for 8 months. Why? I took a breath, let it out slowly. Because he's my brother, and I wanted to give him a chance to stop, to confess on his own, to do the right thing. I waited. I watched. I hoped he'd prove me wrong, that he'd change, but he didn't. He just got worse. He didn't stop. No, he didn't. Mom closed the velvet box, held it to her chest, pressed it against her heart. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for getting this back. I nodded, didn't trust myself to speak. Dad stood, walked to the window, looked out at the driveway where Derek's car had been parked, empty now, just tire marks on the concrete. He's not welcome back, Dad said, not looking at us, looking out at the darkness. Not ever. Not in this house. Not in this family. I know. He turned around. You did the right thing. You protected us. I didn't feel victorious, didn't feel satisfied, just tired, exhausted, like I'd been carrying something heavy for 2 years and finally set it down. But I also felt something else. Relief, finally. After 2 years of watching and waiting and documenting, relief. Game night's over, Mom said quietly. I stood up, grabbed my jacket from the back of the chair. Keep the necklace somewhere safe, I said. Derek knows I have it now. He might try to. He won't get the chance, Dad said, voice hard. Restraining order first thing Monday morning. I walked to the door, hand on the knob. Dad's voice stopped me. Son, I turned around. I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. I'm sorry we didn't believe you would tell us the truth if we'd just asked. I looked at him, at Mom still clutching the necklace, at the broken Monopoly game on the table, at the life we'd had that was never coming back. You see it now, I said. That's what matters. And I walked out into the night.